Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you guys are doing well today. Um, Honestly, I'm doing very well. And today's stream is gonna be a little bit different other than what we have done. And no, um, I I don't have any game footage for this, and I'm sorry. Uh I I don't really have a capture card to capture uh like gameplay footage, and I was gonna speak about classic Mario games, which we're gonna do today. And I was hoping to get some gameplay footage or something of that sort to be interesting. But um yeah, I don't have that type of equipment. I don't have that type of equipment. But we're just gonna do what we're gonna do today. And the past streams, what we done with the past streams. Um what we done with the past streams, uh with that me as the talking head and all that. And yeah, I'm just gonna do a couple things here before we get started. So I'm gonna send this out to mostly everybody who's here today. Plus, I would like to I like to get people on this stream. It's about 5:18 right now. We're gonna we started at 5:15, which I said the stream is gonna begin at 5:15. That's what we're doing. So I just gotta send a quick. I just gotta send quick messages to Twitter, Reddit, and all that other stuff. About classic Mario games, as this is what the stream is gonna be all about. As I talk about classic Mario games, and honestly, I do have a couple posts ready for this week, and they're all about the classic Mario games and stuff. That's something. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at Twitter right now. I don't think I'll send this to Reddit, but I sent it to every other major site here. Um, but except for Instagram, I need to send that to Instagram. I need to know where my phone is. And there we go. Need to send that thumbnail to my Google Photos. Even though I have like a bunch of space here. There we go. So I can send it directly to my story and put it as a post here too. Sorry if you hear the Windows notify sound, the old one actually, for this. So my apologies. My apologies for that. Even though I should turn my phone off during the live stream, but what the heck? I'm gonna just use this. Going to do a live. Sorry, my office doesn't have very good reception here. And here we go. And we're gonna post the link here too. Sorry guys, I know that I'm gonna start the stream now. It's a bad rendition of it. Okay, live stream 10:23. There we go. And there we go. There we go. We'll make it the main thing here. That's about it. So I always put like a motivational song in my lives in my stories because I like to keep it brief. So that's just gonna be there. So all right, enough about all that I was doing just earlier. We're gonna talk about classic Mario games. So, oh my gosh. So you know me. You know how I am. I am a big Mario fanatic, and I have almost maybe all of his games to be honest, since I got the Wii U and the Wii and the GameCube games. Maybe about like almost every console except for like the N64, the NES, and maybe at least what's that other it's that other system. Uh the Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS. Yeah, I I don't have any of those games like the Game Boy Advance, or like uh like the N64 games, but I do have the other games like the GameCube and the SNES, and all those classic games. But you know, I I always have been like a big Mario fanatic, and I collect almost all of it, and I do have some plushies up at the top there too, of Piranha Plant and Luigi too, at the top of the poster that I have here in my office, and yeah, so I'm a big Mario fan if you cannot tell, but um honestly, the classic Mario games is something I won't ever forget at all. And honestly, you know, speaking of that, it seems, speaking of that, the Mario games have gotten quite expensive, especially the Nintendo 64 games that have come out. I know that the Nintendo 64 is really just hard to find game wise, since it's these games are rare. They're like a piece of history. And if you want to find Nintendo 64 games out in the open, you're gonna have to do some research, like maybe in eBay or maybe Amazon, you know, where these sellers try to like sell it to you for maybe like hundreds or maybe thousands of dollars, depending. And that's something. That's something because they're a piece of history. They're like things that we have never seen before. And some of these games, they're like part of our childhood. And let's see, most of like our generation, mainly my generation, and probably the generation of now, probably doesn't know what the Nintendo 64 or any of the other consoles are, because they were not born in this generation. Um but yeah, you can still go back and play them. I am from I think I'm from like the early 2000s, so I'm an early 2000s person. So like like I was born in like right around the 2000s, um but yeah, I haven't been there to experience all of the Nintendo games, but I still get to experience some of them, like the Wii U, the Wii, um the 3DS, all those consoles that came after the 2000s and into the 2010s, because I was there when the 3DS and everything else came out. I was there when all those consoles came out, and it was fun. But we're talking about classic games here. And I wasn't there for the Nintendo 64 SNES. I wasn't there. But I still enjoy those games to this day. Um and I played some of the best games out there, which um to me would be Mario Kart Double Dash, Super Mario World. I know everybody loves that game to death. And what is that one? Nintendo. What is that? Smash game. Yeah. Super Smash Brothers. I got to play that, but that was on the Wii. But I still got to enjoy some some Super Mario 64 on the DS, even though I didn't get the original version of the game. But it was still fun to play because it felt like Super Mario 64. And I got to play some of the Nintendo 64 games. The Super Smash Brothers one was one I remember. That one was pretty fun. Yeah, and I still have a Wii, I think, to this day, but I didn't really play it that much. I played more at the Switch. But um yeah. Yeah, those games are always something. Nintendo 64, I believe, is pretty good considering the selection of games, but Super Mario 64 was a good title. The Mario Party games are just phenomenal. Uh, you know, a lot of stuff, and Mario Kart. The second Mario Kart came out in that era, and for the SNES there was Super Mario Kart, all that, and some of those games are fun to reminisce and play, and honestly, those are really fun. So I want to ask you guys a question, and um, let's see if you guys can answer this. Do you guys remember like the 80s or 90s sort of Mario games, like Super Mario World, Nintendo 64 games, or like the NES games, from like way back in the day. I'm talking like 81, 85, and I'm mainly talking about 91 as well. So, like a long time ago, like maybe about a few years ago. Um, that's like 20, 30 years ago at this point. So, yeah, you know, do you guys remember any of those games? I'm just like curious to know. I'll put that in the chat. If anybody is coming in, I'll do a welcome message as well. Mario games, classic Mario games. Feel free to put them in the chat. So I asked a question. Do you guys remember any of the old Mario games? Like, do you guys remember you remember the old I'll put in specific 80s, 90s, 80s, 90s, anywhere before 2000. So, what I'm trying to ask here is, do you guys remember the old Mario games, the 80s, 90s, anywhere before like the 2000s, like the early to mid 2000s? Like, do you guys remember any of the games like Wrecking Crew or Super Mario Brothers, Mario 2 or Mario 3? Any of those games, those games, like that's most of the games that I'm talking about here. So, yeah. Um yeah, so I hope everybody is joining into the stream now, since I already did like an event on Facebook, and I did an event on Instagram and stuff like that. So you guys can start coming in when you want. But you know, you can join the stream if you want. It doesn't matter to me if you want to join the stream or not. Or if you guys have any questions about me, you can ask those questions here. But um don't But guys, if you're gonna ask any questions about me, um, please don't ask any personal questions. That doesn't. We don't need that on here. We, sorry, guys. Um, but we don't need any personal questions on here. So please try to keep the personal questions to yourselves because I don't want this chat to be bombarded with questions personal personal things about me. Please, I don't want that to be the case on here. So please try to keep the personal questions out of the chat. And that's all I ask. But anyways, um back to talking. So oh god. One one game I do remember playing one game I do remember playing like when I was really little. I think I remember playing a lot of like Mario 3 a lot, I would say, cuz Mario 3 was one of those games that, I never really knew, and I never played the other two games until like that day, and um that was something that I couldn't that was something I couldn't grasp because I didn't know a lot about Mario then. And like I told you in like I told you in a stream ago that my first Mario game was Super Mario 3D Land for the 3DS. And that was like 10 years ago at this point. But you get my point. But you know that's when I really started, and I didn't get into the classic games until like I was a little bit more older. Maybe around like 9 or 10ish, I would say. So, I I wasn't really familiar with Mario at this point, and I know I have a lot of plushies and I have a lot of merchandise, but you get my point. But um, but yeah, I didn't really get into classic games until I was 9 or 10, maybe. So yeah, but I still do enjoy the classic Mario games. Don't get me wrong, but yeah. Uh, and I think I have one video that was centered around Nintendo 64. Uh, the the a 3D experience Nintendo 64. Nintendo 64 a 3D experience. That was one of the games that was one of the videos I did specifically around the Nintendo 64. And it was an okay video. I could have done better with that video, but uh aside from that, I talked about the Nintendo 64, and um I think I released that back in like January of this year. January of this year. At the beginning of the year uh when my channel wasn't really taking off, um but as you see, like um we can tell like I was very into retro gaming, but uh, I specifically have a heart of gold for Nintendo 64, since that was the topic I wanted to talk about on the channel like at the beginning of the year, and that's what I did. It was like 9 months ago at this point, so um, so if anybody um can show some love for that video, that would be greatly appreciated. I think I'll put the link of the video in here, since I I like to put links to my videos for the good reason, because I would like everybody to check it out, and that's good. Let me do. Let me get a playlist up here. New videos. Sorry guys, I have like 1,000 playlists down here. Um, View full playlist. Here we go. So here's the video. We're going to share this. Share the link. I'm gonna share the link in the chat. So specifically, the video is called Nintendo 64 a 3D experience, and this was released like uh, like 9 months ago on this day actually. So on this day actually, uh, 10/23. This was released like January 23. So at the beginning of the year. So yeah. All right, we're gonna put this here. There you go, guys. A link to my video. Go check it out. It's a really good video. Um, Go check out the Nintendo 64 a 3D experience. It's a pretty okay video. I'm not really that like it's pretty like it's not that good, to be honest. When I looked at the video, it was not really that good. I didn't really explain things really well. I think I'll make like a video of that video if I have the time, but um maybe with some more research about it. So um yeah. So Nintendo 64 was one of the consoles that I vividly remember, and a lot of stuff like that. And considering that I know a little bit of knowledge of retro games, I tend to keep up, um and when Nintendo 64, I am very interested, and I have a few I have a few social media posts that I am going to share this upcoming week. So expect a new Instagram reel post on the 24th, and possibly maybe on my other platforms as well about the Nintendo 64. So so Monday is going to be like a Nintendo 64 week actually. So get ready for that. It's gonna be quite cool, and yeah. So yeah, uh, I I I really enjoy looking into things, and when I was doing my research for the uh the post that I'm gonna do about the about the rare Nintendo 64 games. I was kind of surprised that they were really high prices, especially for like the collector's edition of Legend of Zelda, and you know uh the the price for that is it's pretty high, and considering that it's a collector's item, it's bound to be really expensive, especially when it's like about a couple years old and right around the Nintendo 64's lifespan. And Super Mario 64 is a little bit more expensive as well. Is a little expensive as well. I think it went for like $1,000, like $1 million at one point. I don't remember, but it was like $1 million at one point in like eBay or something like that. But you know these games, they are pretty expensive because they're old games. They're really just like old games, and they're a piece of history. And just knowing that it's pretty it's pretty crazy to think. And I was when I did my research, I was looking at an article that they had on like the top 10 rarest Nintendo 64 games, and let me get my things here. I know this stream is not really that interesting, but give me some credit here. Okay, there we are. Okay, so like I was saying, you know, um, I saw an article about the top 10 best retro, the top 10 rarest retro games, like the top 10 rarest Nintendo 64 games, and I looked at it on Donkey Kong 64, and my God, Donkey Kong 64 went on to be like $800. I would assume 849 specifically, with 95 cents. And I looked at that and I'm like, oh God, that's crazy. That's real crazy. Since uh, most people can't even afford. I couldn't even afford it. I can't. I couldn't even afford $800, and um, I could get that easily. But you gotta understand, like, a lot of us don't really have a lot of money, especially me. Um, but but when I looked at this, I was very surprised, and with with all the games that that came out for the Nintendo 64, and how practically it was a a console. It was a it was mostly a little bit of a failure, but it, it caught on over time, and it's crazy to think. And honestly, um, a lot of games for the Nintendo 64 are pretty expensive, especially the Mario ones. The I think one Mario game, like Mario Party 2 is in specific, costs like around $1,000. I would say $1,000, maybe around there. I would say yeah, but it it really it really get it boils down to if you can find these games, like it really boils down to if you can find these games at like a decent price, and if you have like enough money for them, and that's what it boils down to. And if you want to get like these ridiculous price games like the Nintendo 64 shelf of games, then you gotta be ready to fork out money, because those games are expensive, and Mario games as well get expensive as well. But it's something that we all gotta live with. But I but I still go back and remember all those Mario games to be exact. And what is another one? Mario Sunshine. I didn't play Mario Sunshine, but did I did play a little bit of Galaxy. Galaxy was pretty fun, even though like the first time I didn't like it at all. Because the first time I didn't like it because I think I got the game when I was real little, but I didn't enjoy the game at all. So I just didn't get it ever since then. And like with Super Mario 3D All Stars, I got to experience the game again, and my God, was I wrong? It was real. Was I wrong? I was real wrong, and you know I have to blame myself because I didn't experience the game back then. I didn't fully experience the game back then. But give me a break. Um, yeah. All right. Mario 64, Mario 2, Mario 3, Mario 1. Maybe I should turn on the lights to brighten up the mood here. Because it looks kind of dark. You can see on my face. Um, God, Super Mario World, I think mostly everybody knows about that game at this point. Super Mario World, I will never forget that game. That was fun. Uh, Real fun actually. Cause it's a classic game, and one of the more obscure Mario games the the Mario's early years games. I don't know. Those are really weird. To me, the Mario's early years were very weird to me. Okay, but the Mario's early years were very weird to me. It's kind of weird because you would expect Mario to do education games. You wouldn't expect Nintendo to do educational games, but considering the games are relatively very obscure and very rare to see, it's it's pretty interesting because we never got to see a game where Mario is placed in like Mario is placed in where he's teaching something like Mario teaches typing, or Mario's early years, preschool fun, or fun with numbers, fun with letters. You know, um, those games I never thought would be something of Mario's, and it's pretty interesting when I see it, when you see it, because it's not something that Mario was known for, and it was weird seeing that, and that was something that I didn't know. Um, yeah, and there's other titles as well with Mario was missing, another game that I never really got to play, but it was on the SNES, and and I don't know any other games that I haven't played yet, but um, I can't wrap my finger around what another Mario game, another obscure Mario game that I haven't played yet. Mario Paint, I haven't played that yet. Um, that was a, that was kind of a weird one, since it was all about art. You know, it was the time where Mario was getting a foot in education, and Mario Paint was kind of weird. I say that game is weird because it's not something, like I said before, with Mario's early years and Mario teaches typing. Um, that game, those games are really interesting, but were really weird because Mario's not known for that, and Mario Paint, I could say the same thing about it, and that's something. Even though I haven't played those games yet, I still hear videos time and time again about those games, and that's something. God, this stream has gone on for so long. So, I think I might end it here. So, nobody came in today. Well, we'll try for next time. But, um, if you guys enjoy the stream, for anyone who's coming after the stream, I hope you guys leave some questions about classic Mario games, and I'll try to answer them in the comment section. I put some questions in the chat. You can go back and look back on. Um, so yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Uh, we can try for next time to shoot for another number of viewers, and we'll go on from there. This is actually pretty fun, to be honest, even though nobody was here. But you get my point. I love doing these streams, whether somebody shows up or not. You know, I can wait. So, um, thank you guys for listening to me.